was an interesting phone call yesterday. Senior administration officials telling Fox News that they do not expect any more major changes to Obamacare for the next year or two, and that some major issues have even been fixed.
But should we believe that, after all the changes since the health care law was rolled out? The latest White House numbers saying that millions of Americans can keep their health plans for 2 more years, even if they do not meet Obamacare requirements. What about that? Steve Lesser's former Obama campaign aide. Mercedes Schlapp is the former spokeswoman. The question comes from Alisyn Lane.
Okay, thank you very much, William George. Okay, so there was this conference call yesterday in which senior administration officials said there will not be any more changes to Obamacare for all of 2014 and 2015. Mercedes, do you believe them?
No, they're running out of things to delay. In fact, we saw yesterday 27 Democrats voted they voted with Republicans in the House to delay the penalty. So again, it's unbelievable. The problem is that with their changes that they've made, that the Gallen Institute came up with 35 changes that so far they've made, 18 that Obama has done unilaterally. It's making these individuals, these millions of Americans whose policies are being affected, they feel the anxiety, the uncertainty, and quite frankly, the unpredictability of what we've seen what the Obama administration has done with Obamacare.
Right, okay, Steve, do you believe it's done? Changes are all taken care of for now, all 31 at a minimum?
Well, let's put it this way. I believe what the administration was saying in the conference call, but they also included a lot of wiggle room. Things like I don't think or we don't anticipate.
I see.
But look.
So, Steve, can I ask you something?
Sure.
Is this the Affordable Care Act or is this Gumby?
Well, look, I think the administration does have a lot of the initial problems fixed, and polls of Americans seem to indicate that they have. Americans seem to be warming up to the bill. Fewer Americans than ever wanted the bill to be repealed. As a matter of fact, it's less than half of Americans now at this point. More Americans all the time are saying that they like the bill. And I think that as you look at it, if Republicans are anticipating that the Affordable Care Act is going to be the thing that they can hang their 2014 hopes on, I think they're going to be in for a rough surprise. And one of the things that I talked about the last time I was on, Bill, I don't know if you remember this, I predicted that Republicans were going to have to acknowledge that the bill is law and they're going to have to work with Democrats to start fixing it. We saw that last week for the very first time. So I'm really glad you guys brought me on today to talk about that. They passed what's called the Save American Workers Act. I don't particularly think it was going to help the bill, but it is their first acknowledgement that this bill is law and they're going to have to start doing things to fix it.
So I'm sorry, ACA or Gumby?
ACA.
Okay, all right, got it. Just for the record, Steve.
Mercedes, one of the other things that they said in this conference call that, by the way, was for the media, but was not taped, but people took notes. They also said that the March 31st deadline sticks. So regardless of all of the initial problems with the rollout and people who haven't been able to log on and all the state exchanges that have been, rife with glitches, that they're sticking with the March 31st deadline. Do you believe that that should slide, or that is right, that at the end of this month we are done with enrollment?
Well, it should absolutely slide. It depends. You're going to see that 62% of Americans believe that that deadline should be extended. So it would be a smart political move for President Obama to delay it. He's being stubborn. He's not doing it. I think what you're seeing is that this is impacting those Democrats that are running in those purple states that are facing, for example, let's take Senator Kay Hagan.
Steve doesn't seem to think that's going to be the case, though.
Well, he's being very optimistic.
Steve, go ahead and answer it for the lady. For the lady first, go ahead. Hang on.
Yeah, I think Steve's being very optimistic. When you look at the numbers, it's very clear. 57% of Americans disapprove of Obamacare. They believe that the president is failing on the health care. And we all know, we're looking into the midterm elections. Yep. You look at all these purple states like Senator Kay Hagan. Those folks in North Carolina, they're seeing their premiums rise over 400%. That means 150% for the families each month. Okay. I mean, this is what these Democrats are facing, and that's why they are not following Obama's steps, and they want to delay.
Well, Mercedes, you're putting forth a particular instance that a lot of Americans are seeing their premiums go down. Premiums rose 150% between 2001 and 2009. I didn't really hear any Republicans complaining about that. Millions of people were kicked off of their health insurance plans during those 8 years by the private insurance companies. And, this is something that is going to be fixed now because everybody is entitled to a health insurance plan right now. Nobody can be turned away for pre-existing conditions. And, you know, I'm interested to hear what additional things that Republicans have to propose
that will have to be
make
another,
healthcare better.
That will have to be another segment, guys. We've had a lot of breaking news today. Steve Lesser, Mercedes Schlapp, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.